All right, lesson 6.5, video 2. All right, got one more problem to do, and this kind of like puts it all together. All right, so it says compare two different transformations of f of x equals 2 to the x. How can you compare the properties of g given the table to the properties of j given the graph? Both functions are translations of f. So this is teaching you how we can use a table of values and a graph to talk about or compare functions. So I'm going to make this big table here, all right, which is going to talk about a couple important things in terms of these functions. But first, let's compare the table. So notice here between f of x and g of x, what is happening between the y's, between the f of x values and g of x values? Well, from 0.25 to 2.25, you added 2. From 0.5 to 2.5, you added 2. From 1 to 3, you added 2. Okay, so it looks like what is happening is that g of x is going to be f of x, but you add 2 to the y's, right? Okay. Down here, in terms of j of x, notice here now, looks like all the j points are shifted down. And if you compare this, y-intercept at 0, y-intercept at 1, y-intercept at 0, they're all shifted down 1. So to me, j of x is f of x, but shifted down 1. So now I think I could build the two equations, or the two functions, but let's talk about some important parts. All right, so we're going to have a function column. So that's the function. In this column, we'll have f of x, g of x, and j of x. We're going to compare their y-intercepts. We're going to compare the asymptote lines. We're going to compare their domains. And we're going to compare their ranges. Okay. So for the let's do f all at once. So for f of x, the generic, 2 to the x, our y-intercept is at 0, 1. Right, 0, 1. Our asymptote is the x-axis, which is y equals 0. We're approaching 0. The domain is all real numbers. And again, we talked about the very first lesson in terms of these functions is that there's arrows on both ends. And then the range, because our asymptote is 0, then our range is going to be y is greater than 0. Because we're above that asymptote line, we can't touch 0. Okay, let's do g of x in green. So we're doing g of x in green. So now for g of x, the y-intercept is 0, 3, because it's shifted up 2. The asymptote line, again, we can't see this visually, but it's going to shift the asymptote line up 2 as well. So now it's going to be y equals 2. You're still all real numbers, but now your range is y is greater than 2. Because if that asymptote is 2, it has to be bigger than 2. And then for j of x, the blue graph, right, we can see that that y-intercept is 0, 0, shifted down 1. The asymptote also shifted down 1, so now it's down here at y equals negative 1. The domain range, or the domain is still all real numbers, but now the range, because our asymptote is at negative 1, is y greater than negative 1. So in summary, right? So compared to f of x equals 2 to the x, g of x is translated or shifted up 2, and j of x is translated or shifted down 1. So now, if you want to compare g to j, right? So if g's y-intercept is at 3, right? Let me do it in purple. If g's y-intercept is at 3 and j's is at 0, 0, then j is g shifted down 3. So from f of x, if g is shifted up 2 and j is shifted down 1, the distance between them is 3. J is 3 below g. So I will say, I'm going to continue up here. Compared to, so I said compared to j of x, g of x is shifted. And because j is below g, g of x is shifted up 3. And then last but not least, what would the equations be? So for f of x, I'll do it in purple still. So f of x would just be 2 to the x. G of x would be 2 to the x plus 2. And j of x would be 2 to the x minus 1. And there's your 3 functions. Okay, so kind of more of a mathy section, so I apologize if it is not as much fun as some math is, because I know some of that math is fun for you. But anyway, comparing exponential function graphs with translations. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in class.